Ladies and gentlemen, last Sunday on April 13th, 2024, Iran launched an unprecedented attack on the territory of the State of Israel. The attack was conducted in coordination with Iran's proxies in the region, Hezbollah and the Houthis in Yemen. It involved around 170 drones, 30 cruise missiles, and more than 120 ballistic missiles directed against Israel and the Israeli occupied Golan Heights. What happened? What's coming next? And most importantly, how do we react to survive and thrive? Joining us to talk more about these topics is a veteran investor, world traveler, pundit, and author of a lot of investment classics like Investment Biker, Hot Commodities, and A Gift for My Children. It's none other than the one and only Jim Rogers. It's a pleasure to once again have you, Jim, at this virtual table.
Well, I am delighted to be here. You're always fun and informative, for me anyway.
Thank you so much, sir. So, Mr. Rogers, I trust your wisdom in geopolitics, having watched you for many years, not only because it's part of your job, you're an international investor, you have to know these things, not only because you're a world famous traveler, and so you've been around the world, I believe, a few times, if that's correct, but mainly because you're not going to be a mouthpiece for Washington. I know that you're going to give us views that you won't see on other mainstream media. That's why I like to ask you these questions. So, what do you make of this attack, sir? You know, according to the Israelis, all the missiles were shot down and so on and so forth. Only one Bedouin was injured. But according to other people in the know, like Scott Ritter, who was a former UN weapons inspector, they did do a little bit more damage. But we know that the Iranians didn't go all out here to do as much damage as possible. What were the Iranians trying to do by orchestrating this attack, in your opinion?
Well, the first thing you must remember, and I think the Greeks said it first, the first casualty of war is truth. Nobody tells the truth during wartime, and that's something we all need to remember and be aware of. And then we all try to figure out what's really going on, because when there's a war, nobody is in nobody's interest to tell the truth. They want to make things look good from their point of view, whatever their point of view is. But this has been going for a few thousand years. I said the Greeks are the first to come up with this and made it a famous saying, but it's been repeated many times in many countries for hundreds of years. So I wasn't there. I don't really know what's going on. I know what both sides say. How it's going to wind up, I don't know. The encouraging thing from my point of view as an investor or as a citizen is that somebody seems to be trying to calm things down. I mean, sometimes when these things happen in the Middle East, say, everybody immediately starts saying, let's shoot more, let's kill them, kill them, kill them. For some reason, fortunately, this time, both sides seem to be trying to calm things down, including Washington. I don't know why it happened. I don't know how to stop it, but my perception is things are not going to be as bad as they could be. And I mean, if you watch the oil market's a good indicator. The oil market knows more than I do about what's happening in the Middle East. The oil market knows more than all of us, and the oil market is not going crazy, fortunately.
Well, they seem to think that things are calming down, and that was actually headed off my next question, because it seems to me, I might be exaggerating, but this is one of the two right things that Biden has done. The first thing being getting out of Afghanistan, although I'm not in agreement with how he got out, but it was good that he did get out. And then the second one being that he's telling Israel, if you do this, if you do another attack, we're not going to get involved. So do you think that will succeed in maybe restraining Israel from going with the worst of its inclinations?
Well, just briefly about Afghanistan, we were run out of Afghanistan. I don't think Mr. Biden didn't suddenly say, oh, let's change the world, let's leave. We were run out, unfortunately. But this time around, it seems, and you're right, that Washington does seem to be trying to figure out a way to calm this down. I guess that's partly because there's an election coming in a few months in the US, And most people don't like to have elections during war because it's difficult to win. So I presume that that's one of the reasons that Washington is trying to calm things down. I hope so. But Israel seems to be trying to calm things down too. Let's hope so.
Well, the Israeli Central Command, as recently as a few hours ago, has said that there's going to exact punishment upon Iran. And I wanted to ask you, what do you think the options for Israel are? Apart from just an all out attack on Iran, perhaps the Iranian nuclear sites, what are some of the options for Israel, and what repercussions would those have upon markets and the world?
Well, Iran's been around for a long time, a few hundred years, been a great power at times in its history. It's been a disaster at other times. Uh, I, I mean, Israel's got one of the probably the best air force in the world, the best pilots, and some of a fabulous army and military. I mean, they can do a lot of things, but Iran has 10 or 20 times as many people as Israel. So I'm sure I'm not the only person who knows that. I'm sure they know that in Israel too. Uh, I hope that Israel, if they want to do something, they will. They're very good at surgical attacks if they can blow up something important. But as you well know, the problem is if Israel blows up something important in Iran, then tens of millions of Iranians are very angry, and they said, let's do something. That's how these things get out of control. You look back at most wars, after war's been going on for a few weeks or a few months, everybody says, how do we stop this? How do we get out of this? The problem is they got in it, and then it's very difficult to get out of it. And that's the horrible problem of most war. You look at the First World War. I mean, and August of 1914, they were all saying, let's kill them, let's kill them. This war will be finished by Christmas. 6 months later, they were all saying, how can we get out of this crazy war? How did we get in this crazy war? That's what it's often happened. So I hope Israel and Iran understand. It seems that they do. It seems that there's a little more restraint this time than ever before. But you have your own observations. You probably know more than I do.
But it's good to see that things might be calming down. Now, the Israelis struck the Iranian consulate in Damascus just 2 weeks before this attack and killed several members of the Quds Force, several of the high command. This seems to me the equivalent of the Chinese attacking our embassy in, say, London and killing a few members of the Joint Chiefs. Would not our response be immense and immediate? Was Iran wrong for responding the way that they did, in your opinion? I mean, wouldn't any country respond that way?
Well, I've been around a long time and I've read an enormous amount of history. Getting into a war has rarely been the wise decision for anybody. So if both sides, including Israel, and they do seem to understand, I mean, I'm not the only person who knows how big the Iranian army is and the Iranian Air Force is. Why does Israel want a gigantic war? Why does anybody want a gigantic war? So I hope that everybody can stay calm and we can, and I repeat, the best indicator for me is the oil market, and the oil market doesn't seem to think there's a panic coming.
That's definitely good news. I wanted to hear your take on it. So, in your opinion, you've been around for a long time and you've rubbed shoulders with high officials and so on. Why, in your opinion, has our government, no matter what the administration, been such an unconditional supporter of Israel, no matter what they have done? Certainly, there have been some token moves taken, like the Bush 1 administration cracked down on some Israeli illegal settlements. But every U.S. administration seems to write Israel a blank check. What do we gain from that? Why does Israel figure so prominently in our foreign policy?
Well, I mean, we have a lot of people in the U.S. who support Israel, a lot of people, and just the population of the U.S. is geared towards supporting Israel. I mean, the simple facts, demographic facts. Doesn't matter whether you like Israel or don't like Israel, the demographic facts, if you're a politician in America, is you know where the votes are. And that's the main reason. I mean, I love the Israelis, I love the country, but I also know that if I were a politician, I would have to be nice to people who like Israel.
For sure. Now, where do you see us going after this with the Iranians? Obviously, the relationship's going to decline for a time. Do you see any chance for Iran to reintegrate itself with the international community, with relations to get better between the United States and Iran?
Um, Normally, in the past many years, the answer is no. But as I said, this time around, the markets seem to think, wait a minute, let's not get into a crazy war and kill millions of people. Let's calm down. Maybe I see possible signs that for first time in a long time, that Iran and the US and Israel all understand, wait a minute, there's another way, and let's try to pursue it. I'm not predicting it's going to happen, but I am more optimistic than I have been in many years.
So good can come from this at the end of the day.
Well, if good is peace in the Middle East, of course, good can come of it. Oh my gosh, the Middle East has a lot of people, a lot of assets. If we had peace in the Middle East, oh my gosh, yes, that would be very good. The good can come of this.
It would be a great boon. So you're not changing any of your investment strategies, or you're still holding to the statement you gave me in the last interview? You don't think a major conflict is going to happen this year?
Well, the markets are telling me it's not going to happen this year. I'm basing my judgment on the markets, and so far the markets are saying, don't panic yet.
Well, that's a great message of encouragement, Mr. Rogers. It was great to talk to you again, Mr. Jim Rogers. Thanks for sharing a little bit of your time with us and giving us your expertise in geopolitics.
It's always fun. Let's do it again sometime.
See you very soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.